As per the typical isekai animes that we all watch where the protagonist is usually hit by a truck, or gets teleported. Most of them meet a gentle goddess who treats them kindly and lets them have any power they desire. But our protagonist, Misumi Makoto, is incredibly unlucky when it comes to isekai journey. Let's begin.
Misumi Makoto is seen living his ordinary life when one day he is suddenly transported to another world by the power of god Tsukimichi to become a hero. Tsukimichi calmly explains to the situation at hand, and the promise that was made by his otherworldly parents. Makoto tries to understand and believe in the words of the god, when suddenly, the other world's goddess summons him abruptly, and soon deems Makoto too ugly, and banishes him to her world wasteland, infested with non-humans and monsters, giving him only the ability to understand all languages. Tsukimichi stops the falling Makoto, explaining that, in Japan, Makoto's abilities were restricted by modern life, but in this world, he is quite powerful, and since the goddess has given up on him, he is free to do whatever he pleases. Also, in order to help him out in the future, Tsukimichi blesses him with his own powers, before disappearing. After wandering the wasteland for 3 days, Makoto saves a young orc named Emma from a two-headed wolf monster, and he defeats it easily, discovering how strong he now is. Emma explains she was supposed to be a sacrifice to the god Shun, to dispel the fog around her village, so that crops can grow. She takes him to her village where Makoto begins to learn magic from Emma, and masters it quickly. In order to repay Emma and the villagers' kindness, Makoto decides to defeat Shun, a giant dragon who can use the fog to create illusions. While fighting, Shun traps Makoto inside an illusion of a happy memory, but, after examining his other memories, Shun becomes intrigued by his memories of Japan. Makoto uses his powers and breaks the illusion, and is ready to attack Shun, but he is surprised when Shun acts like a little kitty and offers to make a contract with him, and become his familiar. Makoto agrees, and they form a contract together, and Shun transforms into a busty, samurai girl. Makoto discovers that Shun is obsessed with his memories of historical dramas and requests Makoto for a sword just like the samurais used to have. After the discussion, Shun teleports Makoto to the alternate dimension, where she normally lives. Although it used to be a dark, empty space, it now resembles somewhat of a Japanese countryside. Back at the village, Makoto informs Emma that he defeated Shun, and there is no need to sacrifice anyone else. At night, during the party, Shun offers the orcs to consider Makoto as their master, if they want to live in her dimension, which is rich, peaceful, and fertile. The orcs quickly agreed to the proposal to Makoto's surprise, and Shun teleported everyone along with their house into the dimension. While Shun's fragment body is keeping a check on the village, Shun continues watching Makoto's memories of her beloved historical dramas. Makoto becomes irritated as he cannot move while his memories are being watched. To this, Shun demands that they should figure out how to build a television, so that she can store his memories in it. Since he had nothing else to do, Makoto decides to discover more about his parents as they were born in this world, before moving to Japan. After some time, Shun suddenly appears with an injured dwarf, explaining that their dimension is being attacked by a spider called Black Disaster, that is cursed with eternal hunger and consumes everything on its path. An intense fight begins between Makoto and the Black Disaster. But because of high regenerative powers of the spider, he is unable to finish her off even after multiple attacks. Just as Makoto was about to be devoured by the spider, he uses his strongest water attack, blasting the spider to oblivion. Makoto manages to completely obliterate the spider, but while he is collapsing, we see the spider regenerating and getting back up. Shun tries to intervene, but the spider suddenly declares that the extreme violence has satisfied its masochistic hunger, and she is determined to stay with Makoto forever. To this, Shun suggests the spider to also form a contract with Makoto, in order to gain a human form, and she agrees. Shen then carries on with the contract ritual, even though Makoto is unconscious. Makoto wakes up to find out that he has a new, black-haired, busty female servant who makes him slightly nervous. After talking to the Black Spider, Makoto comes to know that a contract has been formed between the two, while he was unconscious. Suddenly, dwarf named Burin, who is an elder dwarf, capable of crafting artifacts, appears and requests Makoto to allow the greater dwarves to stay in his city, to which Makoto quickly agrees. Shen strikes a lucrative deal with Burin by providing her dragon scales. The next day, Shen and the Black Spider request personal names for themselves, which confuses Makoto. But after thinking long and hard about how to name them properly, he renames Shen as Tomoe, after Tomoe Guzan, who was a valiant women samurai. And names the Black Spider as Mio, which means zero, like the beginning. Both Tomoe and Mio are extremely delighted after receiving their names. Makoto discovers that, while he was unconscious, Tomoe and Mio went recruiting different species of monsters, and his village is now populated by orcs, dwarves, mist lizards, and elk spiders. Makoto is completely overwhelmed by all this, and tries to reject the idea of being called young lord, but he couldn't say no to their puppy faces. Makoto then desperately gets out of there, and returns to the normal world to find a human village. He soon reaches the village, but the people mistook him for a monster, and they attack him. This sends Makoto through the trauma of being hated by humans, and Tomoe explains that Makoto's magical aura is so strong that the humans probably mistook him for a demon lord. Makoto then spends months learning the human language and has the dwarves craft items to suppress his aura. Thus the only way was to enter the human village posing as merchants, and they register at an adventurer's guild. To everyone's surprise, Tomoe and Mio break the records by being 4 times as powerful as the next strongest adventurer, while Makoto, due to his suppressed aura, ranks at E, and level 1, which is even weaker than a child. Tomoe learns that the dragon she knew, Lancer, has been killed by an adventurer named Sophia Bulga, who is the current strongest adventurer around here. Makoto notices the price of commodities is unusually high, which is quite fishy. And to top it off, people have begun following them after they left the guild. Tomoe prepares to defend a night attack on their wagon, easily defeating everyone. While Makoto and Mio are returning after their dinner date, they are approached by a young girl with orange hair. The girl named Rinon reveals that she and her sister Toa used to travel around, but 1 month earlier, Toa suddenly disappeared while searching for places to work in this town. We then see Tomoe fighting against the thieves, but she kills 3 of them by accident, due to her sheer power, and somehow manages to capture the 4th one alive. And Makoto is easily able to extract information about his enemies, even though the lady assailant was unconscious. Rinon sketches Toa in order to help Makoto and his group to find her. With this, Makoto determines from the thief's memories that their group is holding her captive, and sends Mio and Tomoe to retrieve her safely. Makoto is concerned about Toa, since her face resembles a girl named Hasegawa, whom Makoto knew in Japan. Mio and Tomoe locate Toa, and she is completely healed by Mio instantly. While escaping, the group crossed paths with Toa's captor, Meili's Ace, who is the current strongest adventurer of the town of Setsuya. While returning from a sale, Rinon suddenly sneaks away from Makoto, and tells the thieves Makoto's wagon was full of expensive fruit, but he has already sold it. The thieves insist she must steal Makoto's gold to pay Toa's debts. And even though Rinon feels horrible to do this, but she has no other choice to save her sister from Meili's, the bandit's secret leader. But Makoto has already heard and understood the situation, by using his investigation powers. Before the fight starts, Milis reveals that a demon lord recently approached the city, and they had a bounty placed on its head, so he wants Mio and Tomoe to help hunt it by joining their side, not knowing the demon lord was Makoto himself. And both Tomoe and Mio instantly reject the proposal. Back at the inn, Rinon finally decides that she can't steal from Makoto after he was so nice to her. When Mila starts humiliating Makoto, Tomoe and Mio get infuriated, started attacking the enemies with no mercy, blasting them into oblivion. Mio and Tomoe are easily able to defeat Miles and his gang, while competing to see who defeated the most enemies. And they destroy the entire city, except for the hotel they were staying at. Rinon finally reunites with Toa, who is identical to Hasegawa, apart from her hair color. After that, Makoto praises Mio and Tomoe for rescuing Toa, but then violently blasts them back to the wasteland to repent for foolishly destroying the entire human city.
If you have enjoyed the video so far, like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Comment us your thoughts about the anime, and until the next video, stay safe, and thank you for watching.